Welcome to episode 5 of the Cubbie Climb. I'm Jacob. I got my co-hosts here, Brett Bateman, Blake Cowell X on Twitter. Before we get started on episode 5, we got a lot to talk about. It's our first live episode, so that'll be fun. Surely nothing will go wrong and everything will go smoothly as planned. If you're just now joining us, welcome. If this is your first time listening or watching the podcast, welcome. You get to see our beautiful faces and facial expressions throughout the show. Blake, Brett, how's it going?
What's up? I was just checking to make sure it was live. I've never been on like the receiving end of the live. So like sometimes it'll show like that intro video, but I see it now. So we're good. I'm co-piloting as technical producer. So it looks like we're all good. Thank you all for joining live. The live stuff's so much more fun. I love it. It gives us time if we mess up, then people can see it in real time.
That's true.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You want no mistakes now, guys.
It's game time. Yeah, there's no mistakes when it's game time. When the pressure's the highest, that's when we got to perform. So that's what we're doing today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, people can comment questions if you have them. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. We can see them all. So feel free to comment questions that you want Brett, me, or Blake to ask. Brett will probably be able to answer the more interesting baseball-sided questions. But any of us are available for the next 45 minutes or so. I guess we might as well go ahead and get started. So, Brett, this weather, it's raining every day and it's pouring and there's just storms. I looked at the schedule to see, hey, how the Smokies been doing. And it was like, yeah, this was rained out. So they had a doubleheader, but then part of that got rained out. And it was just nonstop double headers and then postponed because of rain. Are you guys ever going to play a normal week of baseball again?
Yeah, so coming into this week, we were playing 7 games this week. It was Tuesday through Friday were regular games. Saturday was a scheduled doubleheader, and then we played Sunday. So that would have been 7 games. Tuesday comes around, we're getting absolutely rained on, get banged. So now we have a doubleheader Wednesday. Wednesday, we get the first game in. And then we get another storm. It's a pop-up storm. It just keeps raining on us until like 10. That game's banged. It gets moved to Thursday. We play a doubleheader Thursday, single header Friday, doubleheader Saturday, single header Sunday. So we played 6 games in 4 days, and I played in every single one of them. My legs are absolutely cooked. We had 3 people that played in every single one of them. Because unfortunately, right now we have a few guys that have been banged up a little. We had a guy get hit in the wrist by a fastball. We've had a guy that's had back issues, so we really only had one guy off the bench. So you're sometimes just asked to be able to play that, and that's kind of the realistic life as well of potentially being a big leaguer. So having to play every day if you want that job.
How's your wrist feeling? Are you back to, because it seems like you've been playing pretty much every day. Are you back to normal? Or are you still sort of precautionary on that end, or how we doing?
Yeah, no, we're good. I mean, this was the first week last week too, I played in 5 games, so it's kind of normal. But yeah, it was the first, one of those first weeks again where, I didn't really have any issues. I haven't really had to go into the training room at all this week, to do anything for it. So it's we're in a pretty good spot here.
Body-wise, outside of body-wise, how do you feel like your season's been going? Are you checking all the boxes on your end? Or me and Jacob were kind of talking pre-show. In Major League Baseball, guys obviously have goals preseason of where they want to get to and where they want to finish. Are you taking a mental checklist throughout the season of, all right, hey, I'm doing this right, or hey, I'm kind of 50% to my goal? I mean, are you mentally noting that throughout the season, or is it kind of like the season's a marathon? And however the dice shake out at the end of the season, that'll determine whether we were successful or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a mix in that. Like I said, like one of the main things that we wanted to do was slug, but at the same time, you can't really lose a lot of the part of your game that comes with that, especially when you have like some high-end talents to offer, high-end skill sets to offer. So, we still have to, be able to play good defense, make good decisions, running on the base paths and stuff like that. And like you said, it's a marathon. So there's still a lot, like we're not even halfway. We still are a month out, a little more over a month out before All-Star break. So it's like a lot of things can change within a month. And for me, my really big goal has just been being healthy and, being able to play every day and not having to worry about, something knocking me out for a few days. And over the last 2 weeks, I've been able to do that. So that's kind of just one of those check marks that, I was able to hit.
Well, yeah, and you guys are talking about like the lack of power. And I wrote today, and it's not out yet, so sneak peek for our readers, but about Nico Horner. Nico Horner does not really have a power game. Now he hits doubles because he's really fast, but he doesn't really have that big of a power game. However, he gets a ton of singles. His average is really high. And so he is someone that well, he won't hit you the home runs. He's going to hit the singles, he's going to hit the doubles, and he's going to play excellent defense. Is that something when you look at your power numbers that maybe are not what you had anticipated at the beginning of the year? Do you want to tweak something mid-season to change that? Or are you sort of you're getting 1 to 2 hits a night and stealing those bases? Like, you don't want to mess that part up. Like, where do you go to do those adjustments without tweaking it too much?
Yeah, it's kind of like a give and take. During the season, it's really hard to, focus on one big thing. Like hitting for power is not something that you're just gonna say, all right, I'm gonna hit for more power. Like unfortunately, if everyone could, I'm sure that Nico Horner would be more than willing to, be able to hit more home runs. But at the same time, it's also like, especially for him at the big league level, that's a totally different ballpark than being double A. Not saying that there is a big gap between double A and big league, because there really isn't, honestly. It's a lot of the arms that we're seeing right now in Birmingham that we just saw. Noah Schultz is, top 5 left-handed pitching prospect. They have Hagen Smith. Like, they've got some dudes, and the guys that we're facing next week, last year, Chattanooga had Chase Petty, they had Rhett Lauder, and now they have Chase Burns. So, like, we're facing guys that, are going to be, like, in the rotation for, the Cincinnati Reds, the White Sox of pitching, and we're facing them right now. So there is a little bit of like giving and taking, like it's always kind of been. And for me right now, like I said, like it's just getting my feet on the ground. And then once we get that there, we can, give a little more to take a little more. And at the beginning of the year, like it was good to, get my feet underneath me. Like I said at the beginning of the year, and kind of have, more of a focus on trying to hit the ball hard. But then at the same time, when you start to play over and over again, you can sometimes lose focus. You have a bad week, and then things kind of spiral. So for me, I've just been trying to, even if I've had a bad week or the wrist has been, bothering me or something's been hurting, it's more just been like, all right, know what you're good at, do your job, and then, everything else will kind of shake, So that's kind of how it's been. But yeah, like, I mean, I want to tap into it and a little more for sure.
We can kind of transition away and talk about a guy who hasn't hit for too much power yet, but I don't think we have the clip ready. That was the video I guess we were missing in my head. The clip from a few weeks ago, because we reposted it talking about Matt Shaw, talking about his demotion, and immediately the ball knower in the group said, don't worry about it. He's going to be fine. He's going to figure it out. And all he's done since coming back is figured it out. I mean, I think they said on the broadcast, since coming back, he's already had 5 multi-hit games. His defense has been insane. It speaks a lot to his mindset, and it speaks a lot of not getting rattled. Do you see any of that in yourself in terms of, have you ever had a time, I guess, where you've seen where something hasn't gone your way, and not so much a demotion, but maybe in high school or college where you've kind of had to battle that mental side of baseball more? Because we're seeing it with PCA when he was struggling last year, and now he's MVP conversations, and now Matt Shaw coming back. And we're going to see probably a little bit of that with Ballesteros. It might be a little different because he came up and knew it would be a short stint, but I'm sure it's still got to weigh on him a little bit knowing he got to the peak of baseball and then had to go back down for things seemingly kind of out of his control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one thing for me personally that I, had to kind of battle was like when I got drafted, I immediately played in, I don't remember how many it was. I think it was 3 ACL games, 2 or 3. Then I immediately got shipped out to Myrtle, and I had a little bit of an imposter syndrome, not because I was playing bad, but it was just like, it was a totally different environment. Like when I was in college at Big Ten, you threw a ball in the dirt, you kept throwing with that ball. We didn't change it out. Now in pro ball, there's a ball touches the dirt. If the pitcher drops the ball and it touches the dirt mound, you need a new ball, like kind of stuff like that. And it happened so quick for me that even when I did struggle, I was like, do I really, like, should I actually be here? Like, is that, have I actually done all the work to get to where I'm at today? And a lot of people can feel that, especially for guys, that are getting called up to the big leagues and have even more pressure. Like I was just getting a low A ball. I was playing in front of, the Myrtle Beach stands, which, they fill it out pretty well out there, but still, like, it's nothing compared to, going to play in front of however many in Wrigley or wherever they're going. It's a totally different ballpark. And yeah, that's absolutely real of, kind of you lose the focus of what you're really good at and what you can provide to a team because you're trying to do too much, or you have that pressure on you to fill in someone's spot, when in reality it's just you getting called up to do your job because they obviously believe in you and you have all the things behind you to back yourself up. So when your name's etched up in that lineup, it's the manager, that's the whole org trusting you at your level to do your job pretty much.
Well, you guys mentioned Shaw. Shaw has been fantastic. Blake mentioned his defense. There was one clip that we put out over the weekend, and I screenshotted part of it because I don't know. I think I sent it to you, Blake. I can't remember, but he's like laying down, and he's practically laying down, throwing it across his body. I wish I had it to throw up on the screen. It was insane. Like the dude's laying down, like he's about to fall asleep, and he throws the baseball across the field. 3 straight games. And we say that, and I believe it was yesterday, Sunday, that he had another great play where everyone's like, what is happening? Because he was not drafted as a third baseman. He was drafted as a shortstop. And then he went over to second, and then they moved him to third. So, and it's not only the defense. He has offense of 136 WRC plus since coming up. He's walking at 8.5% clip. He's not really striking out that much. So it's all coming together. Like Blake said, the power's not really there, but he's also really fast. So he's kind of a guy that has more power than Nico. But I'm going to use Nico as an example again. That's a 4-WAR player every single year. If he plays the really good defense and then the good offense, there's no holes in this Cubs offense. Like there's no holes in the Cubs offense. I could argue Reese McGuire, maybe. But also his first game with the Cubs, he had 2 home runs, lefty for both of them. This is a segue into something I wasn't planning on asking, but it works well. Brett, you're a lefty. Does that, how much harder is it to hit lefties? Because I know, for me, my only experience is in MLB The Show. I can't get a hit lefty. It's the hardest thing in the world. And I've had other people say the same. So it's not just me there. But do you notice that big of an advantage facing righties, or are you they're both coming from the same distance, it doesn't really affect me?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. Like matchups is a real thing. Especially when you have to eliminate a certain amount of pitches. So like lefty, it kind of opens you up for a little more things. Depends on what the guy has. Like if he's a sinker, slider, curve type guy, you have 3 pitches to worry about, lefty. If it's a righty and, you're able to distinguish, the curveball or slider out of the hand early, it's really just fastball changeup. And then at that point, you can just look for something up if he hopefully doesn't have high IVB, which is ride for short. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on what the guy has. Usually it's just like, oh, there's a lefty on the mound, just keep him close. Pretty much it's how it works. If anything starts close, you got to go and you got to be ready for the fastball in. If a slider starts close in, you got to be ready for that and hit that back up the middle, kind of stuff like that. Like if it's away, if the dude dots 3 fastballs away, I'll just walk away at bat and tip my cap and say, well, I probably wasn't going to do any damage with that. Now with 2 strikes, it's a little bit different, right? Might have to get on the plate a little bit, expand the zone a little bit, just battle, show that you're willing to give up some power or whatever, to get on base. But for the most part, no. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable. Like Birmingham this week, they had, I think, four lefty starters, which was the most we faced all year. Usually it's like 1 or 2. So yeah, I mean, I like facing lefties. I don't mind it because it's just pretty easy at that point. It should become, like I said, just keeping it close.
I was going to mention, so trying to keep it on the track of talking about Double-A before we hop around too far, because I was thinking about this and I didn't put it in the show notes. So you guys are 4 games out of, so in Double-A, right, it's the first half if you win your division in the first half, you make the playoffs, correct? Isn't that how it works?
And you
So,
host. Yeah.
and you host. Okay. So I guess kind of paralleling to the major league level as well, you guys are 4 games back of the Birmingham first place team, and the Cubs are 4 games ahead of St. Louis. And I hang out online way too much than I should. And there's always this discourse of the Cardinals have played really well, but so have the Cubs. And it feels like for as how good as the Cardinals have played, the Cubs have played one step better, and they remain 3 to 4 games ahead. Do you catch yourself watching the standings as much as fans do? Because I'm every day, it might only change half a game. And I look at the standings and I'm like, all right, Cubs are still 4 games ahead. We're good. Or in your shoes, you're like, man, we've won 5 or 6 in a row, but Birmingham's won 7 of 10. We're not gaining on these guys. Have you find yourself doing that at all throughout the season? Maybe not this year, but in seasons past.
No, I don't think I ever have, to be completely honest with you. I think a lot of guys would also agree in the minor league level. I think a lot of guys would probably say that they don't usually look at standings. Now, obviously, when it comes to the playoff end, 100%. Like towards the end of the first half, if we're 2 games behind, we're gonna battle for those 2 games. Like we're gonna be aggressive. But like right now, a lot of the guys, like I said, like the minor leagues. If you asked a lot of people, now me, I want to win. I'm all about winning. I'm all about competing. But if you ask a lot of guys, like they're more focused on like how they're playing, and that's not like a selfish thing. Like that's just like for them, they want to do the best they can and they want to succeed because their dream is to help their big league organization worry about winning. Right now, they're more worried about their progression as a player, and that can go hand in hand with winning a lot of games. Obviously, if you can figure out what your weakness is or what you need to work on more, you can help your team, and then that will revolve around and give your team a lot more wins. So me personally, I'm not really looking at the standings. I'm more looking at like who we're facing, like the guys we're facing, just more like how the guys who are hitters, what's their pull rate in the air, kind of stuff like that, their tendencies, pitchers, guys that have started, guys that are leaving, guys that are moving up and down, just, get yourself familiarized with guys. Cause that's happening a lot now since we're in June, guys that have had their foot in the door for big leagues like Jack Caglione, or for guys that are getting moved up from high A that deserve their promotion to double A, they're starting to show up now. So we're going to have to, adjust to that and, look at that too.
Did you play against Jack?
I was about to say, yeah.
No, Jack's they, I don't know what league they are, but their double A team they're the Naturals. So I don't think they're not in our league.
Never in college either. I don't know how many times the Gophers in Florida faced off.
We never faced Florida, I don't think. I think the only SEC teams we played were like Vandy. We play Ole Miss. I think that's it. I think we only played those 2 teams.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's been on an insane tear. I have a buddy who's a Royals fan, and he just kept sending the stats over and over of another home run. Because the Royals, their pitching's phenomenal, but it's tough to win when you only score 0 runs a game. So, interested to see how he does at the major league level, because we saw Cam Smith get his taste of Major League Baseball early on, and I haven't heard much about him since. Not rooting against the guy by any means, but a lot of the discourse around that is, you don't want to call him up too soon because that could stun his growth. But if a guy just kills it at every single level, he's got to have a shot at the major league. So I guess we'll see how Jack does.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the defense, because you mentioned looking at the opposing hitters and their pull rate and stuff. Do you guys use the cards that you'll see, especially in the major leagues? We're seeing it more and more, and it looks like the guys are getting out their cell phone and checking their text, but it's, a card showing, hey, this is what we should do when we're behind this pitcher or when this hitter comes to the plate. Do you guys use those in Double A, and how have you felt those have improved your game, or like how much do you value those cards?
Yeah, they're mostly just positioning cards. But at the end of the day, like the outfielders, we kind of get the feel, like we get the benefit of the doubt of like, if a guy's really late and if a guy's really late and we're on the opposite field side and we want to move as an outfield a little bit more, because like he's like late on the fastball or something like that, we're more than willing to do that. But yeah, we get those cards, and they're just positioning cards on where to play, where to move for certain guys that are up. Like if they have really heavy pull tendency or away tendency, hitting the ball the other way, kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Talk about another guy in the Cubs offense. Is PCA the MVP for the National League, Brett? If we had to put our votes in right now,
I mean, you guys know what my vote would be. I guess kind of not
I
that
got to
deep of a
start the
question.
conversation somehow.
No, yeah. I mean, it's been so fun to watch. It's been so fun to watch him play, man. He's having fun too, which is the best part. So yeah.
Yeah, he's the best. Like and I said this on the rant the other day. It's fun to watch the Cubs. I normally would watch them just because I'm going to write about them, but also like Cubs games on shore gives me something to do. Now, instead of I can miss a few innings. No, I want to be seated or at least be somewhere that I can watch this game because this team is fun. He had a 269 average in May. He hit 9 home runs. He had 29 RBIs in 27 games. So he's averaging over an RBI a game, which is incredible. He had 34 strikeouts. But the argument that, and Blake, he's already at 19 stolen bases, so he only needs like 11 more to hit his over, which 30 and a half looks silly when you look at that preseason over-under. But with him, my argument, because I saw somebody else make this the other day, I believe it was on Just Baseball Network, and I've been saying the same thing. His strikeouts and whiffs are a problem, and his chase rate is a problem. But if he's doing this good and putting up these insane numbers with that problem, imagine if he fixes it. And somebody's argument was, what if he doesn't? Okay, he's still killing the ball. So you have it where this isn't even his ceiling.
He's a 6'4" player instead of an 8.
Right. This isn't even his ceiling. And I would argue this whole Cubs offense, this isn't their ceiling because the weather has been really bad. We talked about it at the beginning of the episode with all the rainouts, but the weather has been bad. It's been cold, wind blowing in, some rain, but not much. The Cubs haven't had to deal with much rain thus far, and then we'll get rained out the next week. But that's the nice thing about Pete Crow Armstrong is he has that big flaw, and he's still doing great. It's not, he's struggling. This is why. He is excelling in every way, shape, and form. And one of those ways is his defense. I got this video that I wanted to bring on just because this was such a good catch. And I more just wanted to show it because Brett's a center fielder and it was a cool play. And it's Pete Crow Armstrong. So have a look.
Center field, Pete Crow Armstrong dives! How about that?
So 10% catch probability. 10%.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I went immediately to the Warmonger Twitter page to see what that rates as because I was going to make a tweet that said like PCA just made that play look super routine because like I knew like the meme where they put the dude perfect guy catching the ball and then like flopping back into the infield.
Yeah.
And I knew that was going to start circulating because like he made that look like kind of routine. Like it looked like you could watch him and go, he didn't have to die for that. Because it's like he's so fast. He's so fast to the ball. Like he made a 10% play look half routine. Like that's how good he's been. And it's like you said, you got to be seated for all 9 innings because you never know what you're gonna say. My girlfriend texted me. She's like, "Do you want to?" She's like, "What do you have going on tomorrow night?" And I just said, "Gym and Cubs." like that. Like that's like what you're blocking your schedule off for the Cubs. Yeah. Like that's how fun it's been. They're 15 games over 500. But again, man, I mean, I feel like the Cardinals are just still lurking right there. We have a big series at the end of the month, penciled in. I know you mentioned, Brett, you don't look at the standings, but do you schedule watch? Do you ever see a series like maybe a month out and you're like, circle it, or are you not thinking that far out ahead either?
To be honest, it's more like where we're going and the facilities that kind of go with it. That's kind of the thing. Like, to be honest, like some guys are like, we got to go to this place. Mm-hmm. That's our schedule looking.
Can you spoil one of those places?
No, I'm not gonna dirt any orgs. I'm not gonna do that.
Well, are there any places that like you look at and you're excited? Like, you see that and you're like, oh, you're excited to go there. Because for us, we're excited to face the Cardinals. That'll be fun. But like, are there any places that you're like, we get to play at that stadium?
I'm excited to go to Columbus. We go there next week. It's a brand new stadium, brand new town. So like they just relocated from Jackson, Mississippi, the Braves org. So I'm actually excited to go there and play there. I heard that it's a launch pad, so hopefully we can connect one. But I'm excited to go there. Then we go to Biloxi the next week. There's a casino across the street, so a lot of guys really like that series. But me, not really. Just kind of chilling. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, Biloxi's cool too. Like we're right on the coast, right on a beach. So that's one that a lot of people ask. And I just don't like that it feels like 100 degrees every time we play there because it's pretty humid and hot down there. But I would just say it's more like just like, oh, we're going there. You know, the facilities. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually excited to go to Columbus next week and see what it's like because I've heard from guys in the org. They said that their field's really nice, their facility's super nice. So.
Very cool. Let's get to should we get to the NBA now? Is this
we have to. That's going to be the longest part, I feel. This is going to be fun.
Oh, it won't be.
If you remember, and I'll find this video. Brett said, because we're like, hey, who do you want to face? And he said, I want the Thunder. I don't want the Nuggets. I want the Thunder. They're inexperienced. He said they have talent, but they're not going to be better than the Timberwolves. I want the Thunder. Thunder win in 5. It wasn't really close. I mean, it was insane. Not even close.
Thoughts?
I mean, I'll die on it. That's my team. I was expecting more out of them, but I'm disappointed. The only thing that I will say is I was cheering for the Pacers, and the Pacers won. So now obviously the Knicks Thunder would have probably been a little bit of a better series, I think. I mean, the Pacers can give them a run for it there. The Pacers bench is almost as deep, if not deeper, than the Thunder, in my opinion. So that's why I think, you know, the Pacers were able to win that series just because their bench is good. And obviously Halliburton and Pascal Siakam both had unbelievable series. I still don't know how Halliburton did not win the series MVP, but
I don't think he does either.
Conference final. I don't know how he didn't win that.
He was expecting it.
He started walking to the podium. He definitely should have won it. He had a friggin' 32-point triple-double or whatever it was, you know, in a big game. So, but I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I will definitely be watching it while I can because obviously we play games almost like every day while they're playing. So I'll have to work around.
But what's the prediction?
But yeah, I'm excited.
We need a prediction so that when it's wrong, we can make fun of you or call you a genius if it's right. But it's
dude. I mean, I have to pick the Thunder. My heart says the Pacers, but I have to pick the Thunder.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it's probably the Thunder in 6. Honestly, I could see him winning in 5. I'm just going to say 6 to play it safe. But yeah. I want the Pacers to win, dude. I would love to see the Pacers win. And not that I don't hate OKC. I mean, they eliminated the Timberwolves, but I don't really have disgust towards them like, oh, you guys beat us. Like, they're a good team. They're really young. They're exciting. Like Shea, Chet, Jalen Williams, like that's an exciting team. I'd love to see Caruso get a ring too. But
full legend.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think it will be a cool series. I don't really have anything attached to it, honestly. Like, oh, cool NBA Finals, you know. But I'd love the Pacers to win, but I think the Thunder will win in 6.
Let's talk about the Halliburton choke here, because that was almost the most memeable offense of all time. Now. Jason Tatum last year caught a lot of flack for being a cornball. Do you think that Halliburton doing the choke and stealing someone else's gimmick is legendary or corny?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the Knicks were favored by however much. Now, I'm not really educated on the whole Reggie Miller choke situation. I know that he went off and then he did the choke. But there's a little bit more history, I think, that was involved with the Pacers and Knicks that kind of made Halliburton do that. Obviously, the Pacers just were not seen. They were kind of seen as a bug in that against the Knicks team. And I think a lot of online reporters, people who wrote articles were like, yeah, we don't know what the Pacers are doing in the ECF. They're not going to win, kind of stuff like that. But the story is funny about that whole shot because we were in Biloxi. when the series was going on. This was like the first few games we were there. And my buddy, one of my teammates, Jalen Palmer, huge Knicks fan. He's from New York.
Oh, damn.
And we're watching the game on someone's phone. I don't remember whose phone it was. It might have been my phone. And whoever was using it, I think, was on Stream East. So we were a little bit behind. And Palmer decides, oh, I'm not going to watch it with everyone else. I'm going to go on my phone and do the ESPN app. And he turns on the radio and is listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like in the other corner of the room, like cheering because like the Knicks, like they turn the ball over or whatever, say it's 7.1 seconds. But the Pacers still had the ball. And the whole time we were looking at him and he was like cheering. So we're like, all right, the game's over, bro. Because we're like a minute and a half behind, which a minute and a half when there's less than 30 seconds in the fourth quarter is like 20 minutes behind. So we're like, all right, game's over. So I leave. Only Darius Hill's the only guy on it. And I'm in the bathroom. And Darius comes running and he's like, yo, Halliburton just made a 3. They won the game and he was doing the choke symbol. And I was like, nah, there's no way. So I come sprinting out and I go to Palmer and Palmer had no clue. Jalen Palmer had no clue. And I was like, bro, like Halliburton just hit a freaking game-winning 3. And he's like, no way. He pulls up the phone, looks at it, and it was 126, 125. He's freaking out. And then obviously they turned it over. So it was 125, 125. But at that point, Palmer was like done. Like he didn't even want to watch the game anymore because he was just like he thought they won. And that was a huge game. That was a giant game for him. And they ended up, losing that and the series. So yeah, there's a little bit of a story behind that whole thing when it comes to us. But yeah, so crazy.
It was fun.
I don't think it's corny. I don't think it's corny. By the way, Reggie Miller was in the building too. I don't think it's corny. He was the one who made it. I don't think.
But Jason, I'm not a Jason Tatum fan, but like last year when he like stole three iconic moments from like other people and was just picking random ones out of a hat. Say what you want, I think that's corny. But I like the Halliburton.
It's like just gimmick man, pulling him out of a hat like a magician.
I mean, you don't know if he was trying to do it. Like maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But like, I mean, the dude was the dude won the finals, right? He didn't win Finals MVP, but still, like the dude won the finals as part of the team. He was a pivotal part of their team, regardless. Like he was gonna hit one of them. I mean, obviously he hit 3 of them. Maybe he was trying to do it, but I don't know. I mean, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's still one of the best players in the NBA, so I'm not gonna disrespect him for it. Just let the dude celebrate.
Well, yeah. Pacers Knicks was so fun, and that's the thing is you don't know what they're never out of it. So you mentioned Pacers could sneakily win this championship. They could, because every time we doubt them, they prove us wrong. It doesn't matter how much they're down, they can come back. And that was the great thing about this Pacers-Knicks series. It didn't matter if they were down 20 with 2 minutes left. You were still scared that they were going to come back. And so, Blake, I'm curious what you think. I guess we'll all put in our guesses. I'm going to go Thunder in 6 as well. Thunder in 6, Thunder in 5. I don't think it'll go 7. I think the Thunder are clearly the better team. But it should be fun. And I don't know how much of it I'll watch. The big thing in the media has been the 2 small market teams. So the 2 small market teams, and someone said it's the smallest market matchup in the championship ever. I don't know if that's factual or not. I'm just going to believe it because it sounds cool. And either way, like, I don't know how many people are going to watch it. So I'll be interested to see. I don't really know if I'll watch it until the late stages. But Blake, are you going Thunder with us, or are you going to go against us with the Pacers?
No, I'm going Thunder in 5, man. The last couple of years of the finals, I don't think we've had a Game 7 finals since 2016, since the Bron 3-1 year. It was like the last 2 years, like the playoffs have been so good. And then you get to the finals and you're like, okay, yes, like the clear better team's going to whoop the other team's ass. Like last year, Boston was way better than Dallas. You kind of wanted to believe in Dallas. They took care of them in 5. The season before it was Denver and the Heat. It was like, all right, the Heat have had this awesome run. Like you want to believe in Jimmy Butler. Yeah. And then Denver's clearly the better team. And they whomp them in 5. And I think this is the same year again. It's like, yeah, the Pacers are hot. You want to believe in them. They have fun pieces. They've been fun. They've won fun games. But the Thunder just feel like the better team, man. They're just running through these teams. I mean, the Nuggets gave them a good run in 7. But other than that, I mean, their first round they dominated. This series they just had, they dominated. And, man, I don't know. Shea can flop his way to whatever at this point. flop his way to a ring. What happened to the game I love?
Yeah. Well, so I did want to go away from basketball, and just to wrap up, I wanted to go back to the sport this podcast is about. Although I'm loving the basketball talk, and I'm excited for football when that comes around to be able to discuss that, because I don't know if we've mentioned it on the pod yet. Week 1, we asked for it, Bears Vikings, so that'll be fun when the Bears win by like 80. Caleb Williams legacy game, but that Brett's like, no, it's
Dude,
just
if
not even
JJ McCarthy outperforms Caleb Williams in his first game as a professional quarterback, I don't know if Chicago Bears fans will hear it for the rest of eternity. I'm just letting you know.
We'll have to shut down the podcast. Like we won't be able to show our faces if that happens. Looking around baseball, Cubs are red hot. There's a few teams that, as we get closer to the deadline, could they be sellers? It wouldn't shock me. The Red Sox are tanking, not purposefully, but they're really, really, really bad. They're not calling up Herman Anthony. Seems like service time manipulation or something of that aspect. It doesn't look great for them, and they are currently losing only by 5. They're only losing by 5, but they gave up 6 in the first. The Diamondbacks are not looking great either. Don't even want to mention the Rockies. Rockies haven't won a game in years. But the Diamondbacks are sort of tanking as well. They're all of a sudden 8 games back. They're 2-8 in their last 10. Maybe just lost Corbin Burns. The Braves aren't doing great either. I mean, the Braves are all of a sudden like the 3rd worst team in the National League. So there's a lot of these rosters and it doesn't help with the more wild card spots. These deadlines are going to be complicated. We only had like 3 to 4 real sellers, but this year it may be teams that we didn't expect. If the Diamondbacks really decide to sell, there's a lot of guys there that the Cubs would be interested in. Merrill Kelly, I would assume the Cubs checking on Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen. Already heard some names that are thrown around with these teams that, whether it's the Diamondbacks, whether it's the Braves, teams that should have been good because they have good talent on paper, they're not performing. The Orioles, I would love one of their bullpen pieces. So it's kind of like Jed could be, hey, you guys are going to be sellers. Let me grab one of them for you because on paper you should have a good roster. But there's a lot of teams, maybe I just don't remember them from past seasons, many teams that on paper have good rosters and were projected to do good and aren't. They could turn it around, but I'm curious, Blake or Brett, it just seems like a lot of teams are really underperforming their high projections for the season.
Feels like it.
Man, a lot of them revolve around injuries too. Like, obviously the Braves, like they've lost Acuna for a while. The Drake, or who is I don't know who I'm thinking of right now. There's
AJ Smith-Shawver. The coach didn't even notice he was hurt. Strider had to come over. Yeah, Strider had to come over and be like, hey, he looks hurt. And then they're like, oh, let's check it out. Yeah, he tore his arm in half. So don't even know how that happened. But yeah, he was
the Diamondbacks could be in a really interesting spot too. With Corbin Burns, the people are saying that they were mouth reading him saying it's dead. I don't know. That's something really interesting, probably that you don't want to hear from your ace. But again, I don't know exactly. But yeah, I mean, some teams are not surprising. Some teams are. And like you said, it will be really interesting to see come deadline, especially for teams that, now are having guys, that are dropping a little bit more, like the Braves or like the Diamondbacks. Like they have a lot of really strong pieces, and now they might take a step back and be like, yo, can we really, make a run? So, and I don't really know exactly. I'm not really bought into it as much as other people are when it comes to, looking at other teams and how they're doing. But yeah, it's definitely going to make for an interesting deadline. That's for sure.
It should be fun. It should be really fun with the Cubs buying too. Like the Cubs are going to be buying. They're already checking in on players. Now it's too early. I had somebody the other day be like, hey, who are the Cubs trading for? And I'm like, dude, it's June 1st. But they're already checking in on people because who knows if Jed said by late June, they could be looking into players, late June, early July. So it's going to get here quicker than we realize. So, man, there's a lot of guys and it's arms. I mean, we don't need offense. It's the arms that we're going to need. And we have such a good farm system that, especially in AAA, Like AAA is loaded with guys that, as much as I would hate to see them go, they do provide value for other teams. Johnny Long, like it stinks to say that because obviously Brett, you played with him, great guy. He's really good at baseball too. But that's why, like, another team could see him valuable, and while the Cubs don't have a spot for him right now, you have to think, and I'm sure you would think the same, like, yeah, it would stink to not be in the same organization as him. If he can get to the majors at the end of this year, root for your boy there. But him playing in left field yesterday, even, or May 31st, rather, back on, I think it was Saturday, Saturday or Friday, he was playing in left field. So they're doing his defensive versatility there. Maybe it's just so that he can have an easier path to the big leagues with the Cubs. I have to think they're sort of showcasing his skills per se, to widen his interest in teams. But it's exciting. Like we said, it's exciting. The Cubs are good, and the weather's finally warming up. Hopefully warming up with less rain as we get into the summer, I would think, and more long balls for the Cubs. And like you said, we'll get a Brett home run this week. We're calling it now.
I need some wind. I need some wind, guys. The wind in Wilmer, believe it or not, not Wilmer. The wind here in Knoxville only goes out to left field. So we might need it to switch around and go head straight south instead of east one time. But we'll see.
You want to hit righty? Maybe hit righty for a game. Try that out. See if you can do a little switch hitter and use the wind to your advantage.
I would love that, but I don't think I can do that right now. You might need to give me a few years.
Have you ever, at any point in, again, this is just going off a script, and last question, then we'll wrap up. Have you ever switched hit in your career, or have you ever even considered it, or is it just lefty? Because you throw righty, I believe, but do you throw righty? Correct? Or you throw lefty?
Yeah, lefty.
Okay,
Lefty,
you do throw lefty. Okay, have you ever thought about switch hitting or switch hitting your career at all? I mean, middle school, high school, college, whatever.
Yeah, my dad, when I was younger, he told me that he would try and make me eat with my right hand because he was a catcher in college. He's a baseball coach. He wanted me to be a catcher. He wanted him to follow his footsteps, be a catcher. So he was like, I started noticing that you were eating with your left hand. So I tried to make you eat with your right hand, and you wouldn't. You would only eat with your left hand. You would not eat with your right hand, and it made me angry. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know what you want me to do. But yeah, so he tried to make me a righty so I could catch, but obviously that didn't happen. So no, I don't think I was ever made to be a righty. I do
Mr.
drills,
Bateman
like we
has an
do
agenda.
swing. Yeah, we do have I'll take rounds in the cage righty because it's good for you. It works on the other half of your oblique, the other half of your body that you don't use to swing, which I guess that's an actual thing. Like if you only swing in one direction constantly, like it can mess up your hip or something like that. I don't know, but some hitting coaches that have played in the big leagues that I've talked to said that like it's really good for your body to be able to just hit the other way. It's good for your eyesight too, train the eyes, seeing the ball in a different direction. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's all that I had. Didn't have a ton of comments. Again, first live show, wasn't expecting a ton. But Blake Bryce said, I love you, Blake Cal X. Wanted to give Bryce a shout out. He actually went on Twitter as well. He went on Twitter as well and said that. So he doubled up with that. So look at Blake getting the love. But yeah, thank you to everybody for joining us. Brett, Blake, did you guys have anything else you wanted to discuss before we hop off on this lovely Monday evening?
No, but what I will say is if you don't have anything else to do tonight, go watch college baseball tonight because there are a lot of really, really good games on. Little Rock, the David and Goliath of the of the regionals could pull something, one of the biggest upsets, I would say. Little Rock, I think, is the only one of the only teams in the past however many years to have like a losing record and be in a regional. I think they're like 26-33, and they are in a winner take all game against LSU tonight in the regionals. So it's a pretty cool story. So yeah, if you want to watch something that's pretty cool, Murray State's beating up Ole Miss right now. Tennessee's beating Wake Forest, but yeah, Little Rock is the home team. 27-33 is their regular season record. playing the number 6 team in the country, 45-15 LSU tonight at 9. So that's what I would say. It's on ESPN too, so you guys can watch it too if you just have like regular cable. But yeah, go ahead and watch that game tonight. Do yourself a little favor since the Cubs are off today. But they are back tomorrow, and they are at Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Washington, 6:35 Eastern.
Yep. Yeah,
right.
that'll be a fun
Eastern time
series.
I am. Yeah, now I'm Eastern time, and it's kind of weird because like when I messaged that, then I was like, yeah, this time Eastern, and Eastern's a fake time zone. I'll always say that, even though I'm living in it now. Eastern is not the worst time zone, but I'll always be a Central time zone guy at heart. Yeah, check out college baseball. There's a ton of fun stuff. I saw like a Florida coach was, I think it was a Florida coach was like yelling at the field guy because the game started an hour late. A lot of drama, but it's been kind of fun because there's been a lot of drama over the last 2 days of playoffs.
There's been a lot of upsets too. Said Murray State could advance. UTSA beat Texas in Texas to knock off the 2 seed to go to a super regional, which was honestly probably the big highlight. Obviously, Vanderbilt lost, so Louisville is going to a super regional. But yeah, there's been a lot of upsets already. Oregon got eliminated. So yeah, I mean, it'll be pretty interesting. Coastal Carolina also, they won 23 games in a row. They are 2 wins away from Omaha. It's kind of like a story rewriting itself that we saw a good while ago. That'd be pretty cool to see them, go to the College World Series as well. So yeah, I mean, pretty cool stuff for college baseball for sure. So go ahead and dig in that.
Sports are the best. Sports
the boys get hot and they win some games. Yeah, I don't have anything else either. Just follow on all platforms, Cubs Insider for sure. And the Cubs will keep rolling, and so will we.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, everybody. Like you said, make sure to follow. We'll start doing live streams. That was kind of fun, kind of neat. Well, as we continue to get people to know that, then we'll get more comments right now, which is people commenting, wow, and Jed. Yes, it is Jed's league. I can confirm that. But until then, that was episode 5 of the Cubbie Climb. Jacob, Brett, and Blake. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you. See y'all later.